Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. Everybody's here. Everybody's talking football, reviewing football, predicting football, talking about football. What more could you possibly want from a football podcast? The clue's in the name. It's a football podcast, people. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Like I say, the biggest one is share the podcast around. If you've got a football fan in your life, send this podcast their way. They might love it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the football podcast.
Recording in progress.
Oh, hi there. Didn't see you come in. Pull up a chair, sit down, and enjoy the dulcet tones of the CookieCast podcast network boys, bringing you yet another week of football-based nonsense. Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. It's your football podcast back again. I'm joined by the three lovely gentlemen that you see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, Mr. Andrew Cook, Mr. Matthew Moore and Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. How are we this week, fellas?
Good. Ready for some actual football.
Yeah, as discussed last week, it was the international break, so only two games to cover from last week. We'll jump right in with the first one, which took place on Friday night and was England versus Australia. Sadly, I was unable to watch this as I was just watching other stuff. No?
To elaborate? Or
sounds like a perfectly logical excuse to me. An England game with absolutely no sort of, jeopardy to it. So it was a case of, I'd rather just catch up on the Beckham documentary.
Still watched a bit of football-related stuff then.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you watch Paint
This
Dry
is brilliant.
or
Also
Grass
watched
Grow
documentary,
or,
so.
Well, in this house, I have two very excited boys who were very much looking forward to watching England play. They were probably, truthfully, slightly more disappointed when they realised it wasn't the England women's team. But still, they realised that it wasn't a school night on Friday, so it was like, oh, can we watch the first half? It's like, yeah.
Your funeral.
Yeah. So we watched the first half. They were absolutely white. They went to bed, and then 5 minutes after the restart, having not seen a goal for the entire first half, Jack Grealish pulled the ball across the box, which was definitely a shot, and Ollie Watkins slid in at the back post to make it 1-0 to England, and then seemed to be like, oh, I'm sorry, it was going wide. I mean, it definitely was going wide, but Jack Grealish did not think that was going wide when he hits it.
No, he was not happy.
And then nothing else happened.
So, England, 1-0 winners over Australia. None of the Borough players even got on the pitch as far as I was aware. So, that'll be the reason why I didn't bother with that game. So, England 1-0 with Watkins scoring the goal. Predictions-wise, we all had gone for an England win, so we each get a point for that. Andy had gone Rashford and Kane to get the goals, the 2-0 win. Stuart had gone Bowen and Foden to get the goals for a 2-0 win. Sadly, no bonus points for those two. I'd gone for a 2-0 with Nketiah and Watkins, so it was a bonus for the goal scorer. Matt had gone 4-1, 2 for Kane, 1 for Bellingham, 1 for Watkins. And a Luongo goal for Australia. So also gets himself a bonus point. So 2 points for me, 2 points for Matt, 1 point apiece for Mr. Woodmansey and Mr. Cook. The important game of the international break, as it were, was a European Championships 2024 qualifier against Italy. England went into this knowing that I believe a draw would be good enough to see them through, but a win would definitely I believe, win the group, potentially, or certainly guarantee them at least a top 2 finish. And that's exactly what happened. They actually ran out 3-1 winners in this one. However, they did go behind. I felt they started this one as the better team for the first 20-25 minutes, and then Italy kind of caught them on the break somewhat. I believe the move started when Harry Kane was trying to close down Gianluigi Donnarumma, and Cruyff turned him pretty much out of his boots to then just play the ball off and then start the move that led to the Italy goal. I can't remember what the name of the right back was, but he might not have been the right back. He was the number 2, so I'm just assuming he was the right back. Popped up, strange enough, on the right hand side, drilled the ball across for Scamacca to. It said, I think it said on the BBC website that he tapped home. If that's a tap, I would love to meet someone who hits it with the force of 1,000 suns. He absolutely rasped that ball.
His full blasters are net rippers. They're just flying through the net.
Yeah.
That was hammered home.
Absolute rip snorter. I mean, it was one of those ones that kind of hit the roof, but the back of the net. It felt like as well. So had the stanchions and stuff not been put up correctly, I believe that would have taken the net out. So England fell behind. They equalised. I'm gonna come out and say it. I don't think it was a penalty. Personally,
It was.
I think there's arguable evidence on the replay that the guy gets the ball at the same time that Bellingham's foot makes contact with the ball at the same time, and it's just the fact that his then follow through sort of catches the bottom of Bellingham's foot.
So you're saying there was contact?
Yeah, I'm saying that, but I'm saying if that penalty was given against England, people would go apeshit.
It's one of them ones where it could go both ways. If they wouldn't have given the penalty, then if the ref hadn't have given a penalty, then they probably wouldn't have given a penalty. But the ref gave a penalty, and they were like, "Well, there's not enough evidence to turn it over." It would be.
Yeah.
They didn't show enough of the angle of once Bellingham / Italian person gets ball, how far the ball overran. Because if there was a potential for Bellingham to, because he'd gone down, so he wasn't getting up to get the ball. If Bellingham would have been able to stay on his feet, would he got the ball to put it in the net? That's the only thing that's the only thing that would suggest to me that's a penalty, but we didn't see that angle enough. I don't think so. If they would have shown it at a wider angle, could Bellingham have got the ball anyway if he would have kept his feet? But it's one of them ones. Either way, whatever way it would have been given, if they hadn't given the penalty, everyone would have been furious that they hadn't given the penalty. If they gave the penalty, people are probably questioning it, kind of thing. It's one of them. Yeah. It's one of them damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of things with VAR as well.
Yeah, and I agree with your comment there. I think it's that sort of one. If it hadn't have been given on the field, I don't think it would have been overturned to have given the penalty. Like you said, I don't think there was enough evidence there to say who technically touched the ball first. So, obviously, penalty given, VAR check. It seemed to go on for a lot longer than like a few decisions that get checked. And then obviously it was decided that they were going to stick with the on-field decision. So obviously, Captain Stat Padder himself, as I believe he's known on this podcast, picks up the ball, sticks it on the spot, dutifully dispatches the ball to bring England level. That's how it stayed at half time. Then moving into the second half, the second goal for England, it's down as a Rashford goal. This was all Jude Bellingham. He tracked back to do an excellent sliding tackle on the edge of the box to break up an Italian attack, and then just I don't think I've ever seen an England player run like that. Just two balls that were arguably 60-40 in the Italians' favour that he managed to get on the end of, and nip away from the Italian guys on both occasions. And then he just carried his run on, played the ball out to Rashford on the left, who cut inside, kept going until he got basically to the edge of the box and then just smashed it past the keeper, who had no chance at that point. I said this in our little group chat. I think the keeper's always on a bit of a hiding to nothing there, because as soon as the guy is able to get the ball moving and then out of his feet, you know he's going to hit it so hard that the keeper's going to have to either break his hands getting him in the way, or he's not going to get anywhere near it. So as soon as Rashford got it out of his feet, you knew he was going to score. But hats off to Bellingham for his role in the goal, because incredible play from him. It's scary how good he is, and he's 20 years old.
I was concerned when I came down. I didn't see the start of the game, but I came down, and one of them ones where I couldn't see him on the pitch, and I was like, if he hadn't started, and Calvin Phillips has, then I'm going to be absolutely furious here. And then he did something. You're like, all right, okay, everything's kind of okay with the world. I'm still furious about Calvin Phillips starting, but he's still there playing.
It does seem though. It's in the space of like the 6 months or so since he's transferred through to Real Madrid, he's been removed from that sort of deep lying position that he was playing for England, and he's now part of the front four. But I don't know if he's going to be one of those players that sort of plays in the sort of the front four and behind the striker, and then in the games where England play against, if they came up against a France, a Belgium, someone that's like a top level sort of opposition, if he's going to be the sort of player that he drops in to sort of make more of a sort of a three in the middle of the park with, say, Rice, maybe Mason Mount, more than likely Calvin Phillips for some unknown reason. And if he's going to play him there...
On the back of the Calvin Phillips thing, did anybody pick up on the post-game interview where they were having a genuine conversation about the fact he was getting minutes for England so that he could then maybe get minutes for his club side? It works the other way around, you morons. This is not how this game works.
I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah.
It was quite funny when they were basically just saying to him, so does this mean you'll be going back to Pep and saying, ooh, can I have some more game time, please, sir? Or would you, do you reckon you might need to look for a move in January or something like that? I was like, Jesus Christ, just tell him to call his manager up. He couldn't, whilst he's there, if you don't want to basically.
His perfect response would have been like, why would I? It's working.
I say, well, clearly Gareth doesn't think I need first team football, so
rest up for the big
I'll just continue doing what I do. To be honest, what he should have done was he should have come out and said, well, I could have chased the bag like Jordan's done, but I'm going to stick around actually. Just going to stay here in England and see how I get on. So it was 2-1 to England, and at that point, Italy were left chasing the game a little bit. Harry Kane got the third. I kind of sort of drifted off at this point, but I believe he picked the ball. He sort of chased the guy down on the right hand side. Managed to win the ball off him, and then just sort of drove towards the area. Managed to hold the guy off, and then just slipped it over Donnarumma to make it 3-1.
That's exactly it. It was another one of them balls where it was like 60-40 in the Italians' favour, and he managed to just get a toe end on it and sort of get by him. And then he pulled across more sort of centrally on the edge of the 18-yard box. And it was almost like a rugby style handoff. He just proper straight arm, just the guy was getting nowhere near him. And then as Donnarumma came out, he kind of for want of a non-FIFA FC 24 expression, sort of finesse finished it over the keeper, curled it in. It looked good. He took it well.
It was a strange one because watching it. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Kane's never been sort of one as known for blistering pace. So as soon as he started working his way towards a goal, and there was two guys trying to close him down, I was like, well, we know where this is going to end. There's no way he's going to be able to hold off both of them. And the fact that he did, I don't know, maybe maybe he's like fueled by Erdinger or something now that he's living in well, it'll be Paul Anna in Munich, wouldn't it, I suppose.
Maybe he's realised that Bellingham's only 20 years old and that goal scoring thing might not actually be that far out of reach.
Maybe. So that's how it finished. 3-1 to England. England qualified now for Euro 2024. I mean, even if they hadn't beaten Italy here, the last two games are against North Macedonia and Malta to finish the group off. So with the greatest respect to both of those teams, I think that's more than likely another 6 points in England topping the group. Predictions-wise, Stu was the least optimistic of all of us and had gone for a 1-1 draw, so sadly doesn't get any points for the result. He did, however, pick Kane to score for England and Raspadori for Italy, so gets himself 1 bonus point for a goal scorer. Myself, Matt, and Andy had all picked 2-1 England wins, so get ourselves a point for that. We'd all picked Kane as part of our goal scorers as well. I had Kane and Bowen, Matt had Kane and Bellingham, Andy had Kane and Watkins. Sadly, none of us had Scamacca from Italy. So, to end the week, I had 2 points from both games, so 4 points for me. Stu had 1 point from both games, 2 points for him. Andy had a point from the first game, 2 points for the second game, 3 points. Matt, same as me, 2 points from each game, so we tie on 4 points for the week. We move swiftly on to real football. Domestic football. And we start in the creme de la creme of domestic football, as it were. Oh no, sorry. We'll start in the Premier League. Sorry. Nottingham Forest taking on Luton Town. Mr. Moore's team, he will therefore go last. We will start. I've gone for a 2-0 Nottingham Forest win on this one. I've gone for Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs-White to score the goals. I'm clearly all in on the double barrelers for the weekend. Andy, what have you got for this first game?
Well, Forest 2-1.
2-1. Goal scorers?
I wasn't passing up the opportunity to say Wood, but like you, I have also gone for Hudson-Odoi. For Luton, I have gone with Morris.
Dirty, cheating, Clinton Morris. Stu?
Bit of a mixture of both. I have got Forest 2-1. And I've got Hudson-Odoi, so a hat-trick of Hudson-Odoi so far, and Gibbs-White. So the same 2 goal scorers that Paul has picked, but I've also got Morris for Luton. And when you said dirty cheating, Carlton Morris, that is the exact reason that I picked him, because he is a shithouse.
He'll meet his match this weekend.
Of course, will always be in the bad books of this particular podcast, as he cheated to win a penalty against the Borough last season. So, for that guy. Matthew, how is your team going to do this season, this weekend?
Well, we've gone
back
this week.
We've gone back 13 weeks. Lovely.
Well, I was listening to a Forest podcast the other day, and Darren Fletcher, TNT commentator and not so subtle Forest fan, said that Forest need to stop calling these must-win games. And, you know, they're not must-win games, but if they want to be seen as a decent team in the league, this is a should-win game. These are games where you should win. You spend 30-odd million on a midfielder or 2 midfielders, so nearly 80 million on 2 midfielders, you should be beating teams like Luton. Because those 2 players, well, probably one of those players is worth all of their squad. And they've signed Andros Townsend on a free this week. So, congratulations. But I've gone for a 2-1 win. I resisted to go one step further than Andy and have Elanga Wood. But I've gone for Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White.
Well, your Luton goal scorer?
I've gone for the shithouse Morris.
I really hope you don't score, mainly for the fact that I won't get any points in it. Our next game takes us into the creme de la creme of English competition. It is, of course, the Championship, ladies and gentlemen. We see Hull City taking on Southampton. Dare I ask, will the Woodmanseys be in attendance, as it's a home game?
Correct, we will.
It will indeed. We'll come to him for his prediction last. Matt, what have you got for this one?
I'm really sorry. I've gone for a Southampton 3-1 win.
Big score.
Really hit their stride recently.
You goal scorer for Hull?
Delap.
And your 3 potential goal scorers for Southampton?
I think I predicted him to be the Championship top scorer, so I've got Adam Armstrong with 2.
Yeah.
And is it Teller, Nathan? Is it Nathan Teller?
I don't think so. I think he ended up he got a transfer, I think, to Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh.
I mean, I can put him down, but it seems unlikely that he'll be scoring.
Seems unlikely he's going to score, crack one in from Germany. Going to ask questions of the keeper if that one goes in.
Che Adams is there.
I'll go on then, I'll go with him. I thought he'd left, but I'll go Che Adams.
Lovely stuff. Andy?
I've got a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
I've gone with Syed Manesh for Hull. And
yes.
like Matt, I've got Armstrong.
I, too, have gone for a draw, but I've gone for 2-2 on this one. I've gone for Delap and Philogene for Hull, Armstrong and Adams for Southampton. How do you reckon it's going to pan out, Stu?
I somewhat optimistically have gone for a 1-1 draw as well.
Interesting.
I have Delap and Armstrong. Although you picking Delap and Philogene might not be a bad duo, considering that they both scored for the England, was it under 21s or under 25s? They linked up, assisted each other in the week. Yeah.
Just the 9 for the under 21s against. Was that against North Macedonia?
Serbia, wasn't it Serbia?
Was it Serbia? Yes. Anchored in the midfield by Middlesbrough's Hayden Hackney. No less.
And played at Forest. So
and it was played at the City Ground, of course. We should have. We should have done that game, really.
Should have put a bit more effort in. Never mind.
Never mind.
It's gone.
Better look next time, eh? Our next game sees my lot, Middlesbrough, taking on, as they'll probably be referred to from now until the end of the season, Wayne Rooney's Birmingham City. Birmingham took the decision to sack John Eustace, even though they were in 6th position in the league. Seems a bit ridiculous.
And had won 3-1 and 4-1. Like, they've not even had a bad run of results. They'd absolutely spanked a couple of teams, which is mental.
So on that note as well, I was listening to the radio last Saturday, and it was the Kickabout on Radio X. So they talk anything but sport normally. However, this one bit of sport cropped up, and it was the Wayne Rooney thing, and they said something to do with the fact that it's because he has a winner's mentality. So they took it upon themselves to work out the statistics of him as a manager, and he hasn't even got like a 35% win ratio. So, yeah. It's because Tom Brady saw him once in America, that's all it is.
I mean, like, yeah. He's clearly been given the job based entirely on his name and not his managerial ability, sadly.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's my team, so I will go last. Matt, what have you got for this one?
I've gone 2-1 Borough.
Okay.
Latte, Laugh and 4s.
Yeah.
And Bakuna.
We'll get a lovely reception from the Borough fans, I believe, because his first name is Janino. Interesting. Andy, what have you got for?
Same as Matt, apart from no goal for Birmingham.
2-zip.
2-zip, Latilaf and Falls.
Stu.
I've got 2-2. I've got Barlaser and Coburn for Borough.
Yeah.
And Dembele and Stansfield for Birmingham.
Sneaky Dembele and Stansfield. I have also gone for a draw. I've gone for 1-1 on this one. I've gone for Coburn and Stansfield. So very similar to Mr. Woodmansey there. Yeah, I don't know. I just get a bit of a strange feeling about this. Obviously, Borough coming into this on great form. Probably one of those occasions where you didn't want the international break to sort of break up the momentum. You never can tell with like new managers. I always feel like when a team's losing and they change manager, you get the new manager bounce. But when a team's doing well and they bring in a new manager, it's almost the complete opposite of that. And it disrupts it and it kind of sometimes goes against them. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on that one. Next up, it's everyone's favourite club, Shrewsbury Town, taking on Derby County. Obviously, we won't dwell on this one. It's Mr. Cook's team in the biggest set of inverted commas we've ever used on the podcast. So he will go last. I'll dive straight in here. I've gone for a 1-1 draw on this one. I've gone for Bayliss to score for Shrewsbury and Collins for Derby. Stu?
I'm hoping Shrewsbury can do us a favour, so I've gone for Shrewsbury 1, Derby 0, with Fleming to score, because obviously, Hull City player.
Ah! Good lad. Matt?
I've gone for a 2-0 Derby win.
Goal scorers?
Waghorn and Collins.
Andrew, how are, and I use this term very loosely, your boys going to get on?
1-0 to Shrewsbury, Bowman to score. It needs to happen at some point. We've got to get off this team, so let's hurry it up and.
We'll introduce a rule where if they've not lost for like 10 games on the spin, we get to lucky dip another team or something. Excuse me. That's the run of Saturday games over, so we move to the midweek fixtures. The first of which sees Norwich City taking on Middlesbrough. My team, I will therefore go last. Stu, what have you got for this one?
Unfortunately for you, Paul, I have got a Norwich 3, Middlesbrough 1. I've got Gibbs, Sarah, and Ida. Or Ida. I couldn't work out the pronunciation. And then for Borough, I've got McGree. One that I can pronounce.
Don't know if he's still injured.
Well, he had a rest against England, didn't he? So he can pull his finger out.
Okay.
He's got another few days after the weekend to, I don't know, tuck it back in or whatever's wrong with him. Then be fine.
Just to clarify, you said Gibbs for the first one, not Gibson.
Gibbs.
Yeah,
as in
that's
Barry.
Right. Matt?
I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
Yep.
Rowe and Jones.
Andrew?
0-1 to Borough.
Goal scorer?
Latte Laugh.
I too have decided to go optimistic on this one. I've gone for 2-1 to the Borough. Rowe to score for Norwich. Crooks and Latte Laugh for the Borough. Did I say Rowe for the Borough? I meant Rowe for Norwich. 2 games left. Our next one is Derby versus Exeter. But before we get to that, we are just going to take a small break just to refresh, revitalise, re-energise, and we'll get back and we'll predict our last 2 games for you right there. Just bear with us.
Recording in progress.
That's right. Welcome on back in, ladies and gentlemen. So, 2 games to go. The second to last one is Derby County versus Exeter City. I've gone for a 1-0 Exeter win on this one, mainly because I wanted to say the goal scorer, Admiral Musquet. What a name. Stu?
Unfortunately, I've got Derby 3-0, Collins 2 and Waghorn. Hopefully it won't matter by the time we get to that game, because in theory, Shrewsbury are beating them, so...
Yeah, but for the book perspective, it'll still count for the predictions, won't it?
Yeah,
Matt?
But if they've lost, nobody will care.
That is true.
I've gone for a 3-1 Derby win.
Goal scorers?
In fact, it's just a line of hate. Waghorn, Hurahan and Collins. And Mitchell to score for Exeter.
Mitchell?
Yeah.
Andrew?
I thought you'd taken my my joke initially, because I've gone with a 0-1 Exeter win, and I wasn't passing up the opportunity to say Cox.
Apologies to absolutely no Derby County fans out there. Support a better team. Last game of the week sees Birmingham City taking on Hull City. So Hull very much having a big old helping of Middlesbrough's sloppiest seconds there for Wayne Rooney's second game in charge, and of course the first home game of the Wayne Rooney's Birmingham City era. It is of course Mr. Woodmansey's team, therefore he will go last. I'll just jump in here and give my prediction. I've gone for a 0-1 with Traore to score the goal. Matt, what have you gone for this one?
I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Dembele and Slater.
Dembele and
Slater.
Sorry, yeah.
I have a feeling he might be injured still.
Slater.
Hmm.
I'll go Delap then.
Okay, 2 minutes.
He did something in the Millwall game, and he's not been. I know we've had the break, but I think that might be, for me personally, that would be one of the ones where if Slater starts, go with that for the prediction, but it's worth dropping the backup in the book.
I'll go Delap.
Andrew?
0-2.
Goal scorers?
Delap and Connolly.
Oh dear. Go on then,
Just for
Stu, tell us how it's going to go.
Well, I don't mean to alarm anybody, but I'm predicting Birmingham 0, Hull City 1, and just to welcome a really short, angry man back to the English shores of football, I have predicted another very short, angry man in Aaron Connolly to score the goal.
Good Lord. You silly, heroic individual. That brings us to the end of the predictions part of the podcast. I do believe that Mr. Woodmansey has done the honourable thing of getting us the odds information that we now like to bring to you each week on the podcast. So you go ahead, sir.
So we will start with the good news in the sense of, for the win, lose or draw situations, all three teams to win. Obviously, I don't include Derby in this situation because who in the right mind would? I've gone. So obviously, Hull, Middlesbrough, and Forest to win is currently 7-1. So pretty low for considering that.
Because one of the
Hull have
games is
got
Southampton.
Yeah, exactly. What I thought. All three teams to draw. A little bit higher in the old odds situation. 54.2 to 1. I did put 50p on that, so we'll be looking at £27.60 if it happens. And then the sad news will be is if all the teams lose, but then the odds are even higher for that, seemingly at 59 to 1.
That must be mainly made up of the Luton game.
Well, Luton to win is 24 to 5. So yes, that is right.
A shade under 5 to 1. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Although you can see
Southampton to win is 13 to 10, and Birmingham to win is 7 to 2. So obviously, they're expecting Southampton to be a lot nearer to the mark than Luton or Birmingham.
So, as it were, then from a predictions perspective, get your money on the draw. It would seem that would be where the smart money would go. Sort of, in a weird.
Well, 50 pence of it went to the draws, and I say that'll reap £27.60 if it does indeed happen. And I'm going straight to the pub after the game on Saturday, so if it does,
you'll love to see it. That now does bring us to the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank these three wonderful fellas for joining me once again to take you through the ins and outs, ups and downs of Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest and Hull. Sadly, we're not just doing the downs of Derby County, but we can but hope for the week that is the case. Fingers crossed. Join us again next week, where we'll break it all down and do it all again for your entertainment and our occasional misery. It seems to be at certain times, depending on how the results pan out. Until then, though, stay well, and we'll see you same time next week. Goodbye.
So there we go. What do you think to that? Another week of games gone. Another week of games to come. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you want to get in on the action, you can let us know who you think is going to win the games. Drop us a line. You can do that by jumping to the website, finding the social media links, or even just clicking the email button. The website's thecookiecast.com. Before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave reviews where you can leave reviews. Share the podcast around. That's the one that we like. Share the podcast around. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.